Lads, I can't believe it. The day is finally here. Home sweet home, but not for much longer. Cozy cottage, you carried me so far. The small farm setup, the smeltery, the beautiful brewery, and even sweet berry acres over there. You've all done me so well. Sorrel, I love you so much. But friends, I think it's about time to move on to bigger and better things. Members, there's a world download out right now, and everybody, welcome to the next Minecraft Guide episode. In today's episode, to properly close up chapter 1 of the series, we're going to finish up the base. While I finish up our base, I'm going to talk things you need at your base when you're just about ready to move on to. Down below this video, 2 quick favors. There's a like button, annihilated, and down in the comments, drop one thing that you think every single base needs before it's finished. Maybe that's like lighting it up, mob-proofing it, maybe it's some beautiful buildings, or maybe it's just maybe a little bit of roads. Paths, they're an essential part of a base. In order to make your base easily feel a whole lot more finished, you need to put some roads in. Now we kind of got a lot of situations going on over here at our base. We got the starter house, very important. We got this building, and we got the smelter. We also have the berry acre and the farm. If I could somehow come up with a path design that is simple, but connects everything, this will feel finished. Minecraft path, tips and tricks. Today we're gonna keep it simple, but honestly, we'll be talking a whole lot more about paths as we go on in this series. One of the biggest tips that I can give you for making a nice looking road is make sure it's not too straight. You see, if you make a road that is just like a straight shot in here, it's immediately probably gonna look a little bit less detailed than it would if you maybe curved it around a tree. Maybe I don't know, built a boulder or something and have it go around the boulder. Honestly, this is probably the biggest road hack that I could give you of all time. In Minecraft, when setting up a path, instead of having it go straight over to something, have it wind, weave, and curve a little bit. And also, before you set it up, maybe mark out that path with something like a shovel. It's super easy. If you use a shovel on a grass block, you'll get these little dots. Then you can make these dots wind and kind of start to get a vision as to what you want to do with your road. Vision, it's an important one. Depending on what you have going on over at your base, you're going to want to match your road to the vibe of the base. If you're building a city, go with gray blocks. If you're going for more of a rural, humble setup, kind of like me, maybe go with that classic Minecraft path. I mean, it's trusty after all. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you want to spice it up, mix some dirt in, maybe some wood too. You got options depending on your feel of the path that you're trying to make. If you want to make it look like a proper constructed Minecraft village, make it clean, 3 blocks wide everywhere. Even if it's winding or whatever on the turns, keep it I don't know, 3 blocks somehow on your diagonal, I don't know, whatever you want to do. If you want to make your path feel a whole lot more alive though, instead of making it perfectly straight, maybe break some blocks out. Or in. So check this is gonna be the move here. Back here we got the smeltery. We need a road coming out of the smeltery. It's gonna wind over this way to something we're gonna set up in a quick second here. That'll connect it with the berry farm. Then I'm gonna have an eventual beautiful tall tree right there. I wanna have the road curve around the tree, something like this right here. Maybe get a little bit close, but not too close, and then go this way. When you're setting up your path, maybe don't worry about the details too much in an area. First, figure out the shape of it by making small dots, then come back in and make it a little bit wider. After that, finally, come back in here and add the details, meaning the parts of the path that cut out, the stuff that cuts in a little bit. So lads, you probably noticed, but if you haven't by now, you walked dead into the first of what is eventually going to become much more building episodes inside of this series. During segment 1 of the series, we were kind of laying out a lot of the early game, talking about how you do things like find diamonds, maybe I don't know, take out a dragon. We did that last episode. There are honestly, obviously, so many different ways you can play Minecraft, but building, ooh boy, building and farming, it's one of my favorite things. Moving forward here, I keep seeing so many questions about it, but yes, in the next section of the series here, once we move over to our new base next episode, we're gonna do a whole lot more building and cool things like that. I can't wait. When you're building your path, it's inevitable, probably, most likely, for certain, at some point, you're gonna wanna step the thing up a little bit. A great way to step your path up, if you're doing this classic Minecraft path, is these slabs right here, the oak ones. They blend in almost perfectly with the color palette. It looks really nice. When I have a step up, what I like to do is make sure my path goes all the way around that step up. Now, I think what I wanna do here is I have the step up, but I also have this cut over here. I'm gonna have the path get close to the edge, but not all the way to the edge. See, it's totally your call. You gotta set a vibe of your own base. But I mean, you're also watching my video on building and detailing. So, in my opinion, paths next to edge, big no. To fix it, all we need to do is a little bit of terraforming. Next up, we gotta step up. In order to make our step up a little bit more luscious and luxurious, Bones will be the judge, but instead of a straight step up, we'll do a diagonal or something. I find that it looks a little bit better. And correction, straight spots, I mean, they're not bad. but I don't think it'll look as good as a diagonal over here. And so, for now, we're gonna go ahead and keep it simple. I just about done it. A full path that links just about all the way around the starter base. And also not so fast. When doing these steps up, fill in the block down below too to make it feel even more complete. I mean, you don't have to, but it's all about the finer things, the small details here, right? If you've got a base built in your world and you want it to feel a whole lot more complete, one of the easiest things you could do is add a road that connects every building to each other. Add a road that connects every building to each other. Ah, lads, we got a problem. A small little issue right here. So the road, it's in here and it's feeling pretty good until I try to go to the berry farm. When I try to go to the berry farm, I hit water, which means it's time for the first bridge of the world. First bridge of the world. Look, I am unreasonably excited for this first thing. I don't know why I'm so happy and ecstatic for this moment, but bridges, something about them, oh, they're beautiful. I got a little bit of a golden rule when it comes to bridges. If I'm building a bridge inside of my world that is 5 blocks or less, I limit that bridge to be 1 block wide or maybe 2 blocks wide if Bonesaw wasn't in the way. If I have a bridge that is maybe like 5 to 10 blocks, maybe then I bump it up to 2 to 3. If it's longer than 10 blocks, I always recommend at least 3 blocks wide, maybe even wider, depending on how major of a bridge it is. Step number 1 to building a bridge is figure out where you need that bridge. I definitely need one right here. After that, you're gonna wanna line up your start and end points. We're gonna start right over there with those pillars, then we're gonna end somewhere over here with these pillars. You wanna make sure your bridge lines up perfectly straightly in order to make it like look a little bit better. Bridges can be a little bit tricky to build if you're not too connoisseur into the bridge life. To make the bridge building experience more enjoyable, start and end on the same even land. So we're gonna start right there on like, what, Y64 and end on Y64. I'll have the bridge go from there to there, then I'll pick up the path again and link it up to the path that I already set up a long time ago, right over here. Once we figured out where we need our bridge and where it's gonna go, how wide it's gonna potentially be, we need to figure out the building blocks. Make the blocks that you build your bridge out of match the buildings in the area around the bridge to make your bridge feel like it's intentional. After that, we need to figure out the shape of our bridge. The best way to figure this out is start by marking out potential pillars. So we got a starting spot right there, then we're gonna go maybe say 2 blocks out and have another one. Over on the other side of the bridge, we'll do the same thing. We wanna keep it symmetrical. We go 2 blocks out and have another one. After that, we got the middle, and I think almost, oh no, actually, exactly perfectly. We could go 3 blocks on that side, 3 blocks, and have the central pillar. That's gonna mean this bridge is like kind of decently long, but I think that'll work out. When setting up your bridge, try and make everything symmetrical, and also try and keep your gaps like scaling upwards, if that makes sense. So like, we start with a gap of 2, and between those 2, then we step up to 3. We don't do like 3 and then 2 and then 1 or something like that. Stripped birch, I don't know what it is. There's something about this area, but I think I kind of have low-key fallen in love with this stuff. After that, I think what I want to do is maybe like step this up with staircases, but we have a problem. If you're gonna step your bridge up, definitely don't have your side pillars be even with your staircases. Doesn't necessarily have to be like a full block though. Could be like a slab or something. After that, what I think I want to do with my bridge here is have it gradually step upwards. So we start with like a big step. We do staircases. Then we could do like slabs or something. Maybe to like this pillar, and I can step up again. Then I could do like, I have a step of 2. Maybe this will be a step of 3. After that, if I stepped up again, I would have a middle step of 3. Don't really love that, so instead we'll do this one as like maybe 5 blocks long, and this will be 2. So we'll go staircase, then 2, then 2, then 5. Then keep it symmetrical and do the same thing on the other side. So at this point in our bridge build today, I would say we have something that looks quite nice. I mean, it's still lacking a lot of the finer details, but it's not bad. I got some cross supports in the middle connecting these pillars that are going up and down, and then I have the shape of the flooring. But up here on the floor, instead of just fully filling it in with slabs, which would definitely technically work, I think we could do maybe a couple trapdoors in here to maybe spice it up a little bit more. However, if we're gonna come in here with trapdoors, we need to take into account how like slabs actually work. That'll mean, unfortunately, on this first step, maybe a trapdoor will look a little bit weird, unless, of course, we want to pull that out and put a staircase right there. If I did a staircase, the trapdoor looks a little bit better. But oh baby, 100% for certain, top of this thing, in the middle, it's trapdoors. Trapdoors look so good on bridges. So for today, an intro to bridge building, there we go, that's just about it. As I finish up this bridge, the vital pointer that I have for you is to not worry about safety too much. It sounds like it might be a little bit weird, but trust me, if you're overly fixated on making it so like it's impossible to fall off the side of a bridge, then it might kind of ruin the aesthetics. If you want the bridge to look good, maybe just build what feels good and try to not step off the side. To see if I was trying to make this bridge 100% safe, I would have to come in and do even more fences higher up, and to be honest, I might kind of kill the vibe. So for aesthetics, don't overly fixate on safety, and to fully finish up the bridge, don't forget those blocks right there. For today, for this simple bridge to get to the sweet berry farm and the road over to it, that's just about good. A huge part about finishing a base up is making sure you can get to everything easily. Then get to everything easily, we got a portal out there on an island. Instead of building a big bridge connecting this spot to that spot, I think what I'll do is I'll build a couple docks. Building a simple dock is really simple, and if you could build a bridge, well, great news. All you have to do is really build like half of the bridge here. What we're gonna do is, same thing. We're gonna start out with some pillars going out into the water, maybe something like that. I'm gonna go ahead and strip these pillars because that is a horrendous looking texture. Can't use that. Then after that, I'm gonna come up with some kind of block that I wanna use as the proper footing, the walking part of the dock. I'm gonna have this footing go out to where Bones likes to stand. We'll have our boards go out this way, of course, into the water, and then continue. Now I've hit a predicament because unfortunately I need one more pillar right there. It's two right there. It's gonna go two more, but I ran out of birch logs. I'll be right back. On my docks here, when I'm building them, I like to keep them nice, small, and simple. I find that they look a little bit better. Kind of a fun thing that you can do with your docks if you have to add one to your base is, if you have like a beach, kind of like I have here, instead of having like maybe terraform the land over to the water, have the dock run across the beach a little bit. I found that it could look kind of cool and maybe add a little bit of detail to your beach line. When building a small dock, fences are a great thing that you could add to it to make it look nice and detailed. They're really for any build, to be honest. To finish off my small little dock over here, just like I did for the one over there, I'll add a couple torches to it. Those look nice. Maybe to hit that fishing dock vibe, a barrel. And then finally, to finish everything off, a boat as well. If you end your dock 1/2 slab above the water, it's really easy to use. Let's say I was like sailing around and I wanted to come back over to the base and land. All I have to do is sail the boat up right against this thing, jump out of the boat, I'll be standing on the boat, and you could walk right over to the dock. It's like streamlined, seamless, perfect. Now next up, we got a great opportunity for something really cool looking here at spawn. Over there, we've got an island with just a nether portal on it. What if we had the nether spill out of the portal? And like a nether themed dock over there too. Ooh, that looked good. And so that's it. Friends, 100% that's what we're gonna do. Over here on the island, to make this portal look a little bit more intriguing, especially from a distance, let's change the land. Now this, to be honest, it starts to get into a little bit more like terraforming and advanced detailing techniques, but long story short, I'm gonna take nethery blocks, the blocks that I actually wanna have here, and swap out the exact blocks in the land. That's how I'm gonna start at least. Not necessarily entirely, but for the most part here, I'm going to try my best to stick to the exact shape of the land that we already have here. I only want the nether to spill out into the overworld, though. I don't want it 100% to convert over. So what I'm going to do is kind of taper it out. Meaning, like, at some point here, probably once we start to get a little bit farther away from the portal, the nether blocks are going to stop, and the overworld blocks are going to stay. I'll also have it hang into the water a little bit. This is not something I'll notice very much, but I think it'll look cool. For the nether dock, oh, it's easy, almost too easy. We got all this nether wood I haven't used quite yet. And finally, to finish it up, we got nether brick as well. I think nether brick fences could look really, really good here, and this time, we'll have them curve and maybe cut right down into the water. Now, only because we don't really have any trees over here, I think we could do with a little bit of fire too. Because that's gonna be the closest tree. If I keep like maybe a couple sources of fire, if I could do like maybe one final one right there, I don't think anything will be able to burn down. I don't want any forest fires here. Now over on this side of the island, because we do start to get a little bit farther away from the nether portal, I don't want to put too much. Maybe like a couple geodes, like rocks that were maybe harvested over from the nether and brought here for like, I don't know, science or whatever I was doing before. To mob-proof the rest of this island, we'll put a torch. And then, actually, speaking of mob-proofing, that's huge. So we've got docks, bridges, and paths all over the place. I gotta add one more dock. I'll do it a little bit later on. But now it's nighttime. If you want to talk about one of the single biggest things that I think every base needs before you fully finish it and leave it, that's going to be mob-proofing the entire base. To mob-proof the base, wait until it's nighttime. At nighttime, grab torches and something to put the torches on. It could be walls, it could be fences, it could be whatever you want to do. I think cobblestone walls would add a nice touch of gray into the base. What we'll do here is start by running along the path and dropping a torch down on top of a wall every once in a while. Specifically, when it starts to look a little bit dark. Nowadays, Minecraft 1.20, all you need to do is make sure the light is not 0 anywhere inside of your base and no mobs will spawn at all. That's gonna make it actually like really easy. If you find an area of your base that looks suspiciously dark, like maybe on top of the bridge over here, place the torch down, it lights up a little bit, and then you're probably good. That's like basically all you need to do. The areas of this base that I would like to make sure are 100% mob proof, no mob spawns are gonna happen, is gonna be anywhere along the path, really where I'm like moving. I'd like to, if something unfortunate, oh, that's a beautiful tree. Oh, that's so good. I'd like to, if something unfortunate happens, be able to pop back over at base and like not worry about a creeper doubling up on me and tag teaming me, you know? The good old-fashioned torch sitting on top of a wall, I will be honest, it's not like the fanciest way to light up your base, but it is by far the easiest early game before you have an iron farm way to light up your base. If you'd like to, like you want to make things extra safe, you could even go a little bit beyond, like off into the forest near your base too and light that up. I think for me personally, because I don't really plan on running around very much here at nighttime, or really even being here too much in general, really what I just lit up should be more than good enough. There's a couple stray torches sitting on the ground that I want to pick up and put on a wall, just make it look nicer, but I think that's pretty good. There are, of course, so many other lighting tricks, but those are things we'll talk about later on. Finishing a base in Minecraft is one of those tricky things, because realistically, a base could theoretically never be over. Like, you could finish everything at your base and come up with another idea and keep adding to it and adding to it and adding to it. I went ahead and added another docket over there right next to our zombie farm. I think that's a great build opportunity, so I'm not going to do too much else over there. I'll just keep it in mind and maybe come back over to it later. With all of this stuff set up over at our base, the docks, the roads, the bridges, and even all of the lighting, we're actually just about done. At this point in the game, the very final thing left to get in around the entire base is going to be more like the minor details. You see, one of the greatest ways to make a base feel fully whole and finished and complete is to make it come alive. You can make this base come alive in multiple different ways. One of my favorite ways to make a base come alive and feel fully done is with plants. I personally love plants. In real life, in the game, anything. Plants are great. They're wonderful. Not only are these buddies all over the place going to help purify the oxygen a little bit, making it better to breathe and maybe like, I don't know, I guess our health will feel faster. But also, depending on the type of plants you come in around your base and add to it, it might add a little bit of color to your base, or at the least, a little bit more detail. Take this empty field, for example. This is like pretty plain, kind of boring looking. What if I like made it a small flower garden? Or like maybe the areas out front of my house, kind of like I already did. I put some leaves. Bushes are a great detail to add into an area. Then I put flowers and now I'm running around and putting the actual bush in the game. If you're gonna add sweet berries to your base, a little pro tip, maybe don't like put them too close to a path or like in the way or anything because the damage is really annoying. When I add things like bushes specifically, I kind of like to cluster them around things that I already have going. So like I have a tree, maybe I have a couple bushes by the tree, or like a building, a couple bushes by the building, the dock, you know, that kind of vibe. Bone meal, specifically bones. I was so fortunate to find a skeleton spawner a couple episodes ago, and from that spawner, I got a couple skeletons. With a little bit of bone meal, we can level our base up big time. Right back here, I have a little bit of roses. We bone meal them. After that, we can take these roses, the tall flowers, and sprinkle them in, again, maybe next to trees or just in other open areas that don't have much. It's gonna add color to your base. When adding flowers or other decorations to an area, I recommend not going too crazy though. Don't like pick every single type of flower in Minecraft and drop it down. Maybe pick a couple colors that you want to add. So for me, I'm doing like red, so sweet berries, maybe roses. A little bit of white in there, that's cool looking too. Another beautiful little one that I always knew the importance of, but really realized more recently, as in like in the survival series, is trees. Put trees around your base, whether it's like the natural tree or a different type of tree that you grow in the area. Try coming in and adding some trees to your base. Specifically, like, if possible, get them to cover your path up a little bit to make it feel a whole lot more vibey. Now, the tree one, it could be a little bit of a trial and error. First cherry tree, it went the wrong way, didn't really like it. Also, to make sure your trees aren't in the way, maybe like build up a couple blocks and then try and grow your tree. I mean, usually it's not really much of a problem with the cherry trees. They're pretty tall as is, but with other trees, like maybe birch trees, if you're adding those into your base, those could be like a little bit too short. This is a handy little tree hack that we talked about earlier on. If you're short on bone meal, maybe place an oak sapling with this little brace right there and give it a little bit of time. Hopefully, eventually, that tree will grow into a big, strong, beatable oak tree like that one right there. If not, it might end up being like a little bit smaller like that. You could always chop it down and try again. Or if you have a lot of bone meal, you can just bone meal it like crazy until it grows. But I don't want to do that. Speaking of bone meal though, if you've got big empty areas, run around with a little bit of bone meal and maybe bone meal those areas. Get the grass back in there if it went away. Adding a tiny bit of grass to an area will add so much detail to it and also make it feel more done. Now, one thing is, when you bone meal, you might get other random colors of flowers. They're killing the vibe, you know, pull the flowers out, but I don't really have too much color going on. It's not like an overload, so I think a couple yellow daisies in here, yeah, like that'll look nice. It's cool. When it comes to detailing your base, oh boy, this is something we're going to talk about in every single episode where I'm building. Another nice detail that you could add is rocks. These rocks could be big, giant boulders, or they could be a little bit smaller, just like a slab every once in a while. Make it out of cobblestone, andesite, maybe even smooth stone, and it'll look nice, kind of blend in. I think that adding rocks to an area makes it feel a whole lot more real too. Like, you walk around for 1 second outside, you're bound to see a rock or something. Adding things like this in, occasionally, every once in a while around your base, maybe even making them a little bit mossy too. Whew. A couple of other things that you could add to your base to add more detail. Random blocks, like workstations specifically. They're so interesting looking. Maybe do like a composter, spice it up with signs, or even like a chest. Chests are cool too. Speaking of random blocks and chests and stuff, I guess it wasn't really a good segue, but like labels. This isn't really much of a label. It's more of a gateway. But if I... Well, hold on. Let me show you. Or kind of like this. There's a label, a sign. Interesting. The berry collection. Nice. The signs, whether it's hanging or normal, are a relatively interesting looking block. Like, you place it down and the model itself is already pretty cool looking. You can put it on the side of something and label it, like, let's say, zombie spawner dead ahead. Then we can spice it up with a couple little dashes and equals. And yeah, you know, not too bad looking. The signs are a pretty cool way to not only label things if you're gonna have other people check out your stuff, but also just add more subtle, minor details here. I got them over there, I got it over here, and I even got it over here too. Honestly, when it comes to the details, that's where you could really go crazy. There are so many different things you could do to detail your base and bring it up to make it a little bit more alive. So back to spawn for one final time, home sweet home. Going forward in this series, next episode, we're going to set out on a big adventure and find a brand new spot to live. This spot though, I hope to hopefully eventually come back over to it. I wanted to spend a lot of time detailing in today's episode to make it feel good so it feels fully finished for you guys in the download, but also like, I want to do things differently this world. I don't want to like pick one proper base and only build there forever. Instead, I'm thinking maybe we'll build like a main base, of course, but also maybe some more outposts with useful things by it. For example, this one, the big use here, is going to be the berry farm, but also that zombie spawn. And of course, that cool portal. That's what I'm thinking, but anyways, today's comment of the day. For today's comment of the day, we're over to the most beautiful subreddit, r/Waddles. Lego Waddles. I was bored and built this boy, and he watches on the desk. Oh my gosh, chef's kiss. This thing is magnificent, marvelous, and beautiful. I don't think I've ever seen a more better, more beautiful Lego creation ever. That's perfect. Thank you. Down below in the comments, drop one thing that you think every base needs to be fully finished. And thank you all so much for watching this episode. Chapter 1 of the Minecraft Guide, the very early game, all the way from the start, the scratch, founder's tree, up to the dragon. We made some friends along the way, Sweet Bones, so Camelotl over there, Camelot. I can't wait for this next chapter. What would you like to see in the next leg of the series? A humble spawn starter base. I think it's just about checked on. Other than that tree, if it would ever grow. And thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed as Ben B. Waddles. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.